But why are there so many tax bills that says, my head spins when I think about it.
Because revenue is king. I mean, that's why. The reason why, and Mark is exactly right. I mean, we blame the governor because he's the one who's pushing it. The legislature sets policy. The legislature was one that passed the budget. If we're not willing to stand up against the governor when we think the policy's bad, then that's on us. I mean, I don't want to say that everything, there's a lot of good stuff. And my pastor preached a sermon one time that totally convicted me. And he pointed out, he's got like a little birthmark on his lip, and he pointed at the spot on his lip. He said, you can focus on that spot on my lip, and eventually all I become is the spot on my lip. And that's the thing, is that we ought to be careful not to do that. I mean, we can focus on the tax increases and miss some of the good gun stuff that's done. We can focus on the tax increases and miss some of the consolidation stuff that's good. I mean, I don't want to belittle the tax increases, because they are the things that, when I go home and I'm going to be disappointed about what happened in session, that's what I'll be disappointed about. And so I use the illustration, and I think it's the best, it helps me anyway, is that in the South there is nobody that has a heavier burden and heavier pack than the Arkansas taxpayer. Nobody. No other state has the same burden that we have here. And so, you know, it may be, no doubt, we need to fund highways. We've got to find the money for highways.
We've passed in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Where's that money?
That's a, I don't know. And so, but that's the point, is that before we do, you know, we cannot throw anything else on our taxpayers or their clients. We can't do it. You know, that's where we're at. So my thinking is that, you know, the good news is that those two new tax increases at this point have no shot at all, which is the first time. And this is, so two exciting things about that is, one, that, you know, we won't have a tax increase. The other exciting thing to me is the legislature actually taking a stand and saying, no, we're not going to go down this path.
So which two new taxes?
Which two new taxes?
Well, it's the bond, both of them are the highway taxes that are coming out.
1726 and 1727.
That's it. So those two, I mean, at this point, don't have anywhere near enough. I mean, the vote's been whipped, and there's not enough votes to get this. And so I'm excited. That'll be a little bit of a victory. So.
Do you think the internet tax will pass?
Well, you know, the answer is, I mean, without, so there is a piece of legislation that I co-sponsor with Andy Davis. It's a great piece of legislation that says if there is any new revenue from internet tax, then it goes into a fund income tax. Because this is the thing, a consumption tax, fair tax, you know, consumption tax is a good tax. So it is better to have a now this is a little different because the internet tax is unconstitutional under the federal constitution. So we're kind of, it's amazing how we're like willing to nullify federal law, like on everything when it means more revenue or pot, but we're not willing to nullify it on.
Well, I say on Amazon already and pay 10% tax.
Yeah.
Am I going to get that back when they declare that?
No.
Nope.
Now this is the thing, is that, you know, just a hint, under Arkansas Constitution, it says that we cannot levy any tax that's unlawful. So, you know, it may not be unlawful under Arkansas law, but it's unlawful.
So who in this room is going to file that lawsuit?
There's your man. There's your man. All right,
We were
so
told that if somebody in this room had filed a lawsuit on more than one issue, on issue 3, we would have won it, folks. I'm dead serious.
yeah, you're on legislative referred constitutional amendments. The court rightly gives a bunch of deference. And so it'd be really hard. If that were a citizen-led, then it would be different. But that you may be able to do it. Well, and actually I have a bill for that. So we have a constitutional amendment that'll increase the threshold, at least for the title and all that, and make it frankly hard for us to
increase what threshold? What do you mean?
Well, we're getting into it, but the speaker's resolution for a constitutional amendment for the third constitutional amendment would make it harder to amend the Constitution, make it a 2/3 vote for the legislature to amend the Constitution.
Is that your bill or the Senate bill?
Well, it would be the speaker's resolution that we're working on.
There'd be a
Which
higher,
Linda and I have worked together, although we ended up not going as far.
there'd be a higher gate on the 3rd.
Oh, no, it is a higher gate now on the 3rd, but that's by rule. It's a higher gate period on anything that's referred out.
Can we have a new bill that says that a taxation committee in the House side has to be majority lead?
There
We
is.
have 11 in there versus.
Yeah, that's a mess. So that mess and the push to try to fix that. Although let me say this, from a conservative standpoint, it's been a really a benefit. It's tied up their committee, and that's, you know, but that's probably good too. Most of the stuff in revenue and tax committee is more about creating more taxes, and so anyway, so it's tied up that committee, but then it's made it where on judiciary, we just got Charlie's bill out without any trouble at all. You know, there's only 3 Democrats on that committee. On state agencies, there are 2 Democrats. But they, by trying to pack that one committee, they left big voids. Now, I kind of also say, I think the not balance being the same number of people, but having their voice heard on committee probably makes for better legislation anyway. But at the same time, you know, as far as purely getting conservative stuff done, they are absent everywhere but revenue tax. Revenue tax hardly makes them do much. So, and now, obviously, it makes it easy for tax increases to come out. It seems out it's the governor's tax increases, and we aren't taking stands. But maybe we are this time.
Good.